Good evening, good evening. It's been a little bit since we've had a proper little news video here. The last one we did a kind of a meta talk instead because the only news was really the bans, and so it's just kind of talking about the follow-up after that. But we have gotten some news since then, partly at GAMA, partly in some articles that went up on the Jessica website, partly on Bill Stark's Twitter. um, but yeah, so I guess first and foremost, if you didn't know, Bill Stark has joined Jasco. He's been with them for a while. He's now seemingly been, sort of put in charge of the design team, the design process, which makes sense given his background. He's a pretty well-known Magic the Gathering figure, and yeah, they got him to come over to Jasco, and he's helping them out here. He's writing some stuff, which is good because they, as nice as it's been to have Matt Gideon writing a bunch of stuff, they haven't really had a writer on staff that's used to writing articles from card games, and certainly Bill Stark is that. So, we're getting some news via that in formats that we're a little more used to seeing from other card games, so that's all good to see. Yeah, the lowdown of stuff we got in Undaunted Raid is, so we covered a bunch of stuff in the last news video that came on the sell sheets, those being the release date. Chrome rares are back. We're going to have the 11th card in packs, things like that. We've additionally reconfirmed that there is not going to be a first edition for this set. We've known this since the roadmap video, I believe, but we've gotten that reconfirmed. It's a little more recent now. Also, there is no more DLC. The DLC cards have apparently been, I guess they were planned and then just kind of got folded into the set. So some part of the quote-unquote back page is going to be what was originally going to be a DLC. It sounds like this is from a comment on Discord. Someone's talking about that. That's basically what they ended up doing. There's also going to be no more quirk packs. That they never really worked out that great. They didn't really accomplish a whole lot. They were just kind of like extra ultra rares that were in the packs but not in the packs. They are also going to do away with having 1-ofs in starter decks. Every card in a starter deck is going to be at least a 2-of, but in exchange they're going to remove the ultra rares from starter decks. Not really an exchange, but just kind of an addition. They want to focus on the booster packs more, basically make booster packs feel as valuable as they can manage to make them. This goes along with them going up to 6 secret rares and 1 per box and that sort of thing. There's also mention on some of the materials that there are going to be 15 quote-unquote new characters in this set. So, speculate away. I believe they said there are 18 characters total. I don't know if that includes Overhaul and Mirio or not. We're not really sure of that, but only 3 repeat characters, right? And we can assume that, people, just because of what the arc is, people are presuming that one of them is going to be Kirishima, and I think people are assuming that we're going to get a Deku. I don't know who the third one might be. There's a few options, right? You could have Ochako, you could have Asui. They both got some screen time. You could have it. I guess you could probably have yet another Toga if they just want to have a Toga in every set. She does a little bit in this arc. I'm not thinking of too much else, so we'll see what happens there. But it's really going to be mostly new characters that haven't shown up in the game before in this set, so that's pretty cool. Also mentioned the Chrome rares this time, they're going to be attack cards. They're not going to be character cards. They haven't exactly confirmed that it's going to be the same exact treatment. It probably will be. But we'll have to see what they look like. They might be different in some way, right? There's no guarantee that they're going to look exactly the same exact kind of coloring and stuff that they had before. So we'll see what they do there, but they're going to be attacks this time, not character cards, so you can't, well, on a simple level, you don't get to sort of easily quote-unquote use them in a real deck because it's not your character card. You have to shuffle it into your deck, and some people aren't going to want to do that. Also, we're not really sure if they're going to be legal to put in your deck, because the Chrome characters were not allowed to be played as character blocks that were shuffled in your deck because of card thickness concerns. So we'll see what goes on with that. They could have made some changes to how they look, how they feel, that sort of thing. So we'll see what that is. We also don't know if they're going to be old attacks or maybe they could be attacks in this set. Again, the first wave of Chromes was all older characters, but they've expressly said that they're trying to experiment with different things here. So it's not necessarily guaranteed that we're getting like Chrome Back Alley Haymaker or whatever. We could be, but we'll have to see what those are when we find out what those are. And that pretty much wraps up the set 5 details. The preview season is now underway. They've showed off a few characters at GAMA. We're starting to get some of the starter cards, including Hard and Claw Crusher above, which is going to be one of the 2x foils in the overhaul starter deck, the Clash deck. Specifically, I guess it's not technically called a starter deck, but that's obviously the purpose. That card's really good. It was kind of funny. They seem to be doing stuff in numerical order, it looks like, and it just so happened that some of Overhaul's earlier numbered cards were flashier than some of Mirio's earlier numbered cards, so people are like, oh my god, but we'll see as we go. The Mirio starter does seem to be relatively simpler, so probably won't be quite as sexy, but that doesn't mean it'll be bad cards. You can have a simple card that's very good, right? So yeah, we got all that going on. Pay attention to the Jasco Facebook and or Twitter and or Discord. The Discord posts go up like an hour later after the general public social media channels get the things. So good to follow one of those two. I don't think they're doing anywhere else right now. And, you know, as always, they usually post when they put new things on their website. They'll post about it in the Discord and usually on Facebook, but it's not necessarily bad to just kind of follow the website at this point, because stuff just kind of goes up. Like, for instance, you know, a few hours ahead of the sort of announcement of it, they put up a post explaining, sort of going over their ban policy and what they want to take into consideration. There's nothing really surprising there, but they also announced at the end of it that they want to make sort of a formal, this is the day of the month or the timing at which we will ban things if we're going to do anything. And they've set that for the first Tuesday of each month, and it will go into effect the Monday after that. So what that means is that because today, as we record, is Tuesday, May 2nd, they would be announcing any bans today if they had any, and they, you know, so okay, we don't have any today. It kind of makes sense. There haven't really been any big events since the last bans, even though people are very worried about a bunch of the stuff that's going to show up at Kansas City and possibly Sheffield. But, you know, until they see those events play out, they're just kind of going to let it ride, and people can do their best to try to counter some of the stuff that I talked about in the last video, right? So that's going to be on a cadence now. We're not going to be sitting here wondering, you know, when will they post anything? Are they going to post anything? It's been X amount of time. Does that mean nothing's going on? It might make some things a little bit awkward, like if something's really bad shows up, just like a new deck that's clearly toxic shows up in an event early in a month, the event that's later in the month is kind of just cooked. But, you know, hopefully nothing like that happens too often. And yeah, we'll see how it plays out. And I guess, you know, it doesn't preclude them from doing really, really emergency bans if they absolutely need to, right? Yeah. Oh, we've got some events coming up. We have Sheffield coming up. Sheffield RLE this weekend? I think it's this weekend. It might be next weekend. I probably should have double-checked that date, but good luck to anybody playing in that. And then in a few weeks, Memorial Day weekend, we have Kansas City, which is gonna be wild. I don't know how fair it's going to feel, but I'm gonna see a bunch of people playing some, you know, a few really nuts decks and people trying to counter those. So we'll see how that pans out. Yeah, that's all we have for this afternoon, and I will see you next time. Take care.